Mabuhay! I'm Sister Pilar of Prolife Philippines. Welcome to Love Life. Today I have a special guest for you. Dr. Ligaya Acosta, a former employee of the Department of Health, is here to share with you very important things. Stay with us for the rest of the 30 minutes. This short half hour, she will tell you a lot, the inside story of why she felt in conscience that she had to leave her job because God was calling her from the culture of death, as she calls it, to the culture of life. Here then is Dr. Ligaya Acosta.
Good day, everyone. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Para naman hadton akon mga kababayan, tikan hadlati an Samar, kay maaram ako nga damot na mamati hative Maria. Special greetings to all of you. Maupay nga adlaw. It's really a very great honor for me to be here at TV Maria. Pero alam niyo po ba, mga kaibigan, brothers and sisters, 1 year ago, it would have been unthinkable for me to be here. Because Sister Pilar, si Anthony, at sa iba pang mga taga-pro-life, I considered them mortal enemies in the past. So probably I will have to start with a confession. For more than 28 years, I was actually an avid promoter of contraceptives. I was also a firm believer of population control. Probably it was really natural for me to do so because I was a loyal employee of the Department of Health where I really worked for more than 28 years. So probably I will have to give a little more background of myself. In early 2004, I was designated as program manager for natural family planning. Actually, I didn't even like to accept the designation because as regional information officer of the Department of Health for Eastern Visayas, I was involved in practically all the programs and therefore I was really very busy. But they insisted on me because they have always thought nga yung natural family planning ay para lang doon sa mga religious. And they know that I was an active member of the Brotherhood of Christian Businessmen and Professionals, Tacloban chapter. And in fact, hindi ko nga tinanggap yun kaagad. I asked my brothers and sisters in the BCBP to pray for me, and I also asked for guidance from the Lord. But then it seemed the Lord told me go. And little did I know, brothers and sisters, that it was going to change my life forever. Because the trainings exposed me to a lot of horrible side effects of contraceptives and the great deception of population control. And so therefore, it really changed my life forever. It opened my eyes to the fact that actually contraceptives kill and cause a lot of horrible ailments like high blood pressure, like cancers, like napakarami po, even liver tumors and others now which has actually been carefully hidden from public view in the past. Alam niyo po, I was also trained on family planning, yun ang tawag doon by the Department of Health. Iba yung sinasabi. We have always been told that contraceptives are safe. And in fact, even until now, the Department of Health or those who have been trained by the Department of Health will always tell us that pills actually prevent cancer. And now I know that's really the greatest lie of all. Because again, I would like to repeat, contraceptives kill and cause a lot of dreaded ailments. And you know, from Manila, after attending all those trainings, when I went back to Tacloban, I conducted about 10 batches of trainings for over 300 nurses, midwives, doctors from all over Leyte and Samar. And you know, after my lecture to them, after the training, they actually came to the front. They were not only crying, but they were practically sobbing to confirm the story. Marami pong nagtestimonya na sabi nila, ma'am, tama po yung sabi niyo. In fact, there were 2 nurses na they gave their story at sabi nila, they were stormed in the rural health unit by the husband nung isang babae na namatay. At saka sabi po nung asawa, wala namang sakit yon dati. Pero after she started taking the pills, nagkaroon siya ng high blood. And you know, just like others na nagsasuffer nitong horrible side effects, when you go to the Department of Health or DOH-trained health workers, they will always tell you, siguro sabihin ko ng we, kasi kasama ako noon sa mga nagsasabi na it has nothing to do with contraceptives. Pero napakarami pong storya. Sabihin nila, yung ibang namang midwife, sabi nila na when their patient started using the pill, nag-shoot ang blood pressure. And then, nung mag-complain, bakit nagka-high blood, sasabihin nila, you can stop using the pill first. And when they stopped using the pill, ang kanila namang blood pressure magno-normalize. And then, pag normalize, babalik ulit sa kanila. And then, sabihin na naman ng mga midwives, okay, start using it again. And then, their BP would shoot up again. At napakarami pa pong iba. And so, you know, I was still, during the time, I was still very quiet because I know that parang it would cause a scandal if I went out to the public because I was the official spokesperson then of the Department of Health. So what I did, because I'm also a researcher by profession, in fact, I have a consultancy and director of Health Consultants Incorporated, which I put up with some partners way back. Ginawa ko, I went into a research. So I read hundreds of books and materials because I wanted to be very, very sure of what I say or of my decision. And brothers and sisters, alam niyo po, the more I read, the more I cried. And there was one material that was particularly very, very revealing. Doon po ang napakaraming luha which I shed. And I am referring to NSSM 200 or National Security Study Memorandum 200. 128 pages po yon. Kung meron po kayong internet sa inyong bahay, you can download them from your internet. Just type NSSM 200 so that maintindihan nyo po kung where I speak. And you know, in the NSSM 200, sabi po doon, this was a top secret document which was submitted by then Secretary of State Henry Kissinger to the White House. Ano po ang nakasaad sa dokumentong ito? Ang sabi po doon na delikado na yung mga third world countries ay dadami yung kanilang populasyon. And meron pa doon silang 13 countries na pinangalanan doon. At kasama po doon yung Philippines, ang ating pong beloved country, the Philippines. At saka sinasabi po doon na hindi pwede na dumami sila. Kasi kung dumami sila, we will lose control over them. And we need their minerals for our natural resources. At saka, ang sabi din po nila, hindi pwede yung maraming mga bata. Kasi usually, itong mga young people, the youth, they are the ones who go to the streets and shout, mga imperialista, ganon, mga imperialism. I'm sorry for my Tagalog kasi I'm not very fluent in Tagalog kasi po ako ay waray. Pasensya na lang po yung mga Tagalog na nakikinig sa akin. So yun po ang sinabi doon. Pero sabi nila, we should be very careful na hindi nila malalaman kung ano talaga ang tunay nating layunin. So they should never know our evil intent. So sabihin natin, let's sugarcoat it. Sabihin na natin, population and development. So we have to let them realize na kung dumami sila, mas mahirap yung buhay nila. So sino naman ang sino naman ang ayaw ng development? So meron pa dong gender and sensitivity, women's health and safe motherhood. Napakaganda pong mga terminologies unless maintindihan nyo at basahin nyo po ang dokumentong ito. And having worked in the Department of Health for more than 28 years, I was really, really shocked. Because lahat po yung mga sinasabi doon, alam ko that we were implementing them in the Department of Health and in the government as a whole. So I was shocked. Halimbawa, yung gender and sensitivity. Sabihin nilang, we really have to empower the women so that the women will say, this is my own body. I can do anything with it. If I want to have abortion, if I want to have ligation, I don't even have to ask permission from anyone because this is my body. So iba po yung sinasabi doon. At saka sabihin din natin women's health and safe motherhood. At alam ko na ang women's health and safe motherhood was a very big program of the Department of Health, funded by the European Union, by lahat ng mga international big mga donor agencies, and napakaraming pera po doon. Pero yung pala, yung ultimate objective pala doon, hindi pala yung health, but really free sex and free abortion on demand. So umiyak po talaga ako doon. And then, basa pa po ako ng iba because alam niyo po, it's not very easy na babanggain niyo po ang agency which you have loved and served so loyally for so many, many years. As I told you earlier, for more than 28 years. So, sige yung basa ko, I was really, and I was talking with mothers, trying to interview them and health workers, pero the more na na-confirmed ang aking convictions. Actually, in 2004, I was already very uncomfortable. I was already calling my spiritual director, Father Irby, to really pray for me, and my friends, yung mga priests, na to really pray for me, because I was in a situation na talagang napakahirap. Hindi po, it's not very easy na babanggain mo yung Department of Health, yung gobyerno, yung United Nations, or the multi-billion-dollar industry that is contraceptives. So therefore, I really prayed so hard. Pero parang the Lord told me to stay. And I stayed a while because lahat po yung mga tinuruan ko, they were also persecuted just like me. And little did I know that in February last year, there was going to be launched the very controversial program na Ligtas Buntis. Ligtas Buntis actually became the last straw for me because all about the program was really deception. In fact, I called it, and I still call it now, the worst corruption ever because it is not only corrupting money, but also corrupting human lives. Bakit ko po sinasabi yon? Kasi po, we had our whole day orientation on the 3rd Monday of January. Tapos, akala ko, Ligtas Buntis. Ang akala ko noon na it would be telling the women how they can carry a safe pregnancy. Pero mali ako. I was dead wrong. Kasi throughout the whole orientation program, there was no mention about telling the women how they can carry a safe pregnancy. It was all about the massive promotion of contraceptives and sterilization services, house to house, door to door. And I was more shocked because they told us that yung mga target nun are men and women 15 years old and above, regardless of marital status. And in fact, not contented with that, meron pang nakalagay doon na secondary targets, adolescents 15 to 19 years old. And this shocked me more. Kasi alam niyo po, brothers and sisters, lahat yung aking 4 na mga anak belong to that age group. And I will never allow my children to be corrupted. So in fact, when I went home that night, and I told my children about the program, they all chorused and told me, Mom, that is so immoral. 15 years old are not even of legal age yet. And you know, the Secretary of Health also called me up. Pero I also told him, I'm very sorry, sir. I cannot in conscience support the program because it is a massive population control program which is so revolting to the conscience. Just please permit me to be a voice in the wilderness. But I told him, I will make my voice so loud so the heavens can hear me. And you know, if there is only one of you among those millions who are listening to TV Maria like right now, who will believe me, I would already be very, very happy because that is already one soul saved. Why am I saying this? Because aside from the horrible side effects like high blood pressure, like cancers of the breast, cancers of the reproductive organs, and others, more than 60 of them, blindness, and many others. Ang isa pa doon na discover ko, yung tinatawag pala nating contraceptives are actually abortifacients. Ibig sabihin nun, it kills. Huwag na natin sabihing abortifacients, pinapatay po natin yung ating anak sa ating sinapupunan. And according to my research, when a woman is on the IUD, she actually kills as many as 2 to 10 babies a year. And when a woman is on pills, she can actually kill 2 to 5 babies a year. Bakit ko po sinasabi yun? Kasi, let me explain. Ano yung action ng pills? 3 po yung action ng pills. Una, kinokontrol niya yung pituitary gland ng ating brain para hindi na po siya makabigay ng signal, hindi siya makapag-text dito po sa ating ovaryo to start the maturing process. Ikalawa, ipapathicken niya yung cervical mucus so that the sperm cannot enter. And ikatlo, which is the abortifacient effect, sisirain po niya yung matres sa ating sinapupunan. It will make the endometrial lining and the uterus dry and barren like a desert so that the newly conceived baby can no longer implant in that kind of environment. And for those using the IUD, I would like to tell you that yung IUD po works essentially as an abortifacient. Even po, meron kayong IUD dyan po sa mattress ninyo. Ang similya po, pwede pa rin pumasok and it will meet, magtatagpo po sila ng itlog or egg cell ng babae dito po sa outer third of the fallopian tubes. And for 3 to 7 days, maglalakad po sila papunta doon sa matres para doon na sa linya ng matres, doon na sila mag-grow or mag-implant, no? Pero hindi na sila pagpunta nila doon, hindi na sila makakatanim doon, makakakapit doon kasi sinira na. Kung naka-IUD, ang main work niya is it causes the endometrial lining and the endometrium constantly inflamed and infected so that the newly conceived baby can no longer implant in that kind of environment. Ngayon, hindi pa ako nakontento doon. I continued doing my research and in fact, I'm still reading until now because when you are a pro-life activist, kailangan po palagi tayong nagbabasa. We have to study kasi yung mga deceivers po, you know, Satan is the king of deception. So binabago-bago nila yung kanilang mga terms like reproductive health, pero don't get deceived. Pareho lang po din yun, no? So, nag-aral din po ako and then I realized na contrary to what I have believed for a long, long time, and contrary to what the Population Commission, what the Department of Health, and generally our government has been telling us, na I realized that the world is not overpopulated. Na tayo pala dito sa Pilipinas, we have never been overpopulated. We are not overpopulated and we are never going to be overpopulated. In fact, nakita ko and it even appeared in the August 2004 issue of Time magazine. And you cannot question the credibility of Time magazine. Na ang problema sa napakaraming bansa all over the world is not baby boom. Hindi overpopulation, pero baby bust. They are already dying. Bakit po? Kasi hindi na po sila nanganganak. Mas gusto na lang nila na yung mga dogs na lang, or cats, or kung mga anak man sila, 1 or 2 na lang. So they are no longer replacing themselves. Pero dito po sa atin sa Pilipinas, normal pa po yung pyramid natin kasi nanganganak pa yung ating mga babae. And you know, na-realize ko din, I started to study the teachings of the Catholic Church. And I just realized na tama po talaga yung mga sinasabi sa atin ng Catholic Church. Pero noon, gaya po ng marami sa inyo, hindi rin ako naniniwala. Para bang I was really a Catholic by convenience. Sasabihin ng Catholic Church na ganito, it's a mortal sin, masama yung ganito. Pero yung palagi kong sinasabi, sino ba sila? Gaya ni Sister Pilar, wala naman siyang anak, hindi naman niya maiintindihan yon. Pero nalaman ko lang, brothers and sisters, na sila pala talaga talaga ang nagsasabi ng totoo. And then, kung makikita po natin sa ating Bible, ano po ang sabi sa atin ng Diyos? Ang sabi po sa atin, go to the world and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it until your descendants will be as many as the sands in the seashore, and you can no longer count them. Pero yung mga tao po ngayon, nakakount pa naman natin. Sabi nila, 6 billion. Pero ang sabi ng mga eksperto, ang ating pong earth is capable of feeding 100 billion people. There is actually enough resources for everyone's needs, but not for everyone's greed. Sabi nila, we are poor because we are many. But I would like to tell you now, we are poor not because we are many, but for a number of reasons. Primarily because of graft and corruption in our government and because of poor governance. Kung naaala-ala niyo po, nung last year po, we were always in the headlines. Kasi sabi nila, ang Pilipinas daw po, we are second most corrupt country in this part of the world. Kaya sabi nga po nila, kung hindi nga lang daw po tayo naglagay, number 1 nga daw po tayo noon eh. Kaya nga yung joke noon na yung doon daw sa India, na where corruption is also rampant, ang corruption daw under the table. Doon naman sa Indonesia na number 1 na kinonfirm ng aking asawa, because my husband who is an engineer worked in Indonesia for some time, corruption daw is over the table, talagang harap-harapan. Pero alam niyo po ba, kung ang sabi nila dito sa Pilipinas, ang corruption daw po dito is including the table. So yan po primarily is what is keeping us poor. So alam nyo, kung nagwo-worry kayo na paano ninyo susuportahan yung mga anak ninyo, that means we lack faith. Ang isa pa nga pong reason kung bakit ako nag-rebel sa Ligtas Buntis, kasi nakita ko po na ang primary targets doon, mga poor people. And I rebelled because I come from a poor family. I am the 9th of 11 children. And you know, brothers and sisters, I know very well, when I was young, yung lahat ng mga tao doon were telling my parents, my father especially, na you cannot send your children to school. Kasi ang tatay ko po, I was an ordinary farmer. He went to the farm para magtanim, and he went to the sea to fish. Ganun po. At saka yung nanay ko, kung minsan naglalaba nung mga damit po, habit ng mga madre, para makasupport ng aking mga kapatid na nag-aaral na sa college. Apat-apat pa nga po kaming mga college noon palagi. Pero sa awa po ng Diyos, because we depended on God's providence, I am standing before you now. And our youngest na sinabi po ng lahat na hindi makakapag-aral ang aking tatay kasi mga poor people lang kami, also became a nurse. So it is because my parents were hardworking and primarily because of our faith in the Lord na nakatapos po kaming lahat. So, hindi po totoo yun na hindi natin kayang suportahan. That is part of the lie and deception na sinasabi din na kaparte po yun ng contraceptive mentality. Now, para naman po sa mga health workers like me noon, kasi ang sinasabi po ng health workers, kaparte lang naman ito ng trabaho namin. In fact, sabi nga nila, kung minsan nagpupunta sila sa mga pares, sinasabi rin sa kanila na, it's okay, because it's just part of your job. Pero alam niyo po, I would like to quote yung sinabi po ni Pope John Paul sa kanyang very beautiful book na Evangelium Vitae or the Gospel of Life. Babasahin ko na po dito. Ang sabi po, Pope John Paul II very beautifully said it, and I would like to address this to my fellow health workers, to doctors, nurses, midwives, lahat po ng mga health workers. Sabi po ni Pope John Paul II, their profession calls for them to be guardians and servants of human life. If you are a doctor, let me remind you that your Hippocratic oath actually requires every doctor to commit himself to absolute respect for human life and its sacredness. The healthcare profession is meant to be an impassionate and unflinching affirmation of life. And also, sabi pa ni Pope John Paul II sa Evangelium Vitae, man's life comes from God. It is His gift, His image and imprint, a sharing in His breath of life. God, therefore, is the sole Lord of his life, and man cannot do it as he wills. So let us be very grateful when we get pregnant. Let us bring back dignity of pregnancy. Because let me ask you, sino po ang nagbibigay ng buhay? Di po ba ang Diyos lang po? Pero when we become pregnant, we become co-creators of life. So it is the highest gift that the Lord can give us. Sabi nga ni Pope John Paul II, defense of life is the greatest work on earth. So let me invite all of you, let me beg you to join us in this movement sa pro-life, kay Sister Pilar, kay Anthony, whom I considered mortal enemies in the past. Pero uulitin ko po, I realized that they are the ones telling the truth. And may I also say that there is no law or program, closing ko na po ito, there is no law or program, however solemnly or beautifully written, that can abrogate the greatest gift that God has given to all of us, upon which all the other rights depends. And this is life. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Wow, what a presentation. And that's why I felt compelled to present Dr. Ligaya Acosta to you because of the important messages that she has for each one of us. Not only for us who have been so active in the pro-life movement all these years, but to a greater number of our Filipinos, because we would like to correct many of the lies and deceptions that she had described in the past. I would like to thank also all of you who have been faithfully watching Love Life here on TV Maria. I have been receiving many text messages asking where and how to obtain the films on natural family planning and the life of the unborn in the womb, and now the tape that Dr. Ligaya Acosta has so beautifully presented to us. Yes, we are here to serve you. Call us at 911-2911 or text me. I myself will answer you at 0919-2030-637. Stay with us. We come every week right here, Love Life program on TV Maria.